Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the celebrations of International Day of Peace celebrations. And we are here for a week devoted to sustainable development goals, shaping peace together. We will be very soon starting our webinar. And our guests are already with us today. And we are just waiting for a few more participants to get in, and we will be starting soon. It's nice to see we have registered almost 400 over people to attend this important series of webinar. And we have already entered over 73 young people and the leaders on this. Our guests are already with us, and we will be very soon starting the event. Okay, good afternoon, all. I will invite our team lead today, Mr. Irwin Samuel from Indonesia, uh, to welcome all of you on this particular webinar. Mr. Irwin, can we start?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Prasanna. So, good afternoon, my brothers and sisters Scout. Welcome to the opening session of the biggest webinar series in Asia Pacific region, which followed by 100 Scouts from all over Asia Pacific countries. Firstly, to the Honorable Secretary General of WASM, Mr. Ahmad Al-Handawi. Thank you for joining with us today. And the Honorable Regional Director of the Asia Pacific region, Mr. G.R. Panyalinan. And the respective speakers, Marina Cano, Beth Koda, and Dr. Vincencio, that will sharing with us today, and the Director of Messengers Office Asia Pacific region, Mr. Prasanna, who's also our advisor for this webinar, my beloved core team members and National Scout Organization coordinators for MOP, and also to all participants who join us on Zoom or through Facebook Live today. First of all, I want to thank you for joining us and wish you are all doing good in this pandemic situation. And there's nothing that we can do unless comply the health protocol by staying at home as much as you can. And also, if you need to go out from your home, do not forget to use your mask and bring hand sanitizer wherever you go. Over the years, Scouting has made any extraordinary contribution to improve the sustainability of our planet, promote peace, and tackle inequality. Already, Scouts have contributed more than 1 billion hours towards sustainable development through initiatives under the Better World Framework. In this webinar series, we will learn that what exactly Scout for SDGs are, we can understand how to contribute our life to support the SDGs goals, which are very impactful for our future. We will not be a viewer anymore, who just watch people doing any positive things for their community. But now it's time for us to do an impactful action to create another story to inspire young people out there that we as Scouts can do these big things together to create a better world. I believe this is such a priceless chance to join and discuss with these expert speakers from any background. And I don't think we couldn't meet with them personally, but from here and because we are Scout. Lastly, I wish you guys enjoy this webinar. Ask what do you want to discuss, and don't forget to share this story so then everyone can get inspired by yourself. Do what you want, think before you do, because we are Scout and messengers of peace. Enjoy the webinars. Thank you.
Thank you, Erwin. What a wonderful start. Thank you very much, Erwin. And just for the information for all of our guests and all of our viewers, this is a webinar brought to you by 10 young leaders, the members of the Messengers of Peace Asia Pacific team. And Erwin is leading the team today. And you will see many other leaders coming in the next 6 days' time. We are happy to say that we have quite a lot of leaders from Asia Pacific region and few from some other regions. Let us now welcome our Regional Director from the World Scout Bureau, Asia Pacific region, Mr. J.R.C. Panglinan, for his opening remarks. Mr. Panglinan, please. Sir J.R. Okay, while I am waiting for Sir JR, let's talk about this series of webinars that has been introduced in the region. The series of webinar is introduced in the region that no matter how much this has been uh, promoted all around, but yet we have a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts, and a lot of more understanding to be cleared all around in our leaders and in our young people. And I believe that this series of webinar will definitely help all of us to better understand that as scouts, as young people, how can we contribute to the global issues? How can we support the sustainable development goals through scouting? So, JR?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
Because
you now.
the way, okay, because the host keeps on pushing the unmute for me. Anyway, I would like to send the greetings to everyone taking part here in this webinar. Let me first send the greetings to our Secretary General who are able to join us despite of his series of invitations. Thank you, sir, for joining us. To the resource persons, to my colleagues in the office, members of the regional committee and other subcommittees, participants, greetings of peace to all of you. At the outset, let me thank all of you for joining this webinar, which is held in coordination with the APRMOP core team. This session for Scouts SDGs. Keeping peace together is what we devote in conjunction with our International Day of Peace that will culminate on the 20th of this month. As explained by Erwin and Prasanna, we have several objectives for this, not only reminding you of the SDGs, but explaining to you further on how we can contribute in achieving these social development goals through scouting and ensure that this organization will be the best instrument in contributing to this United Nations goal. The series of webinar will be using a Zoom platform and also other virtual means, Facebook and others. That's why this becomes very, very exciting. As you can see in the Zoom, we have only more than 80, but actually there are more than 400 who registered in this webinar. So I will not take long in my remarks. I just wanted to invite all of you to make use of your time in learning about this subject on SDGs. And not only that, we must able to put it into practice so that we can contribute to its achievement. We also request you to acquire the necessary knowledge and share your experience so that we can influence other people and tell success stories in order to get commitment in contributing to work with us in this SDG. Let's ensure that whatever work we do will influence the communities where we are and work with them. And in very communities that any activities that we are undertaking will build impact because through scouting, we build a better world. So I wish you the best and looking forward to a continuous interaction within the whole week in achieving our aim for the Social Development Goal, which is our contribution in this International Day of Peace. So best wishes to everyone and God bless. Back to you, Prasanna.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Pangilinan, for your insight to all our viewers. And while we have about 85 plus people on this particular Zoom meeting, we also have thousands of people viewing through Facebook. Our network was very, very active in bringing many young leaders to view this. For the starting information for all our viewers and the participants of the Zoom meeting, basically we have our speakers will be talking to you about the each goal of the 17. They will be talking about the targets under each goal and connecting you what individuals can do, how scouts can connect through the World Scout programs in contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals. Friends and fellow scouters, not taking much of your time, we would like to call upon our WASM Secretary General, Mr. Ahmed Al-Andhawi. He needs no introduction. The youngest Secretary General of the World Organization of the Scout Movement and past Youth Envoy of United Nations, Mr. Ahmed Al-Andhawi. Sir, may we please invite you for your keynote address on this. Please unmute. Sir.
Thank you very much, Rosanna. Thank you. Thanks, Brother JR, and to all our friends who showed up today. Erwan, thank you for your beautiful introduction. And to all the regional committee members who joined this start of conversation around the SDGs and the lead up to the International Day of Peace. And I would like to congratulate the APR region for taking this initiative to start a series of conversations around the Sustainable Development Goals and the lead up for the annual observance of the International Day of Peace. So to all of you, my friends, and to everyone who is following us in social media, it's important here for all of us to remember what the SDGs, what are the Sustainable Development Goals, why they are important. The Sustainable Development Goals, in my view, they came as a realization of the international community of all member states that together we will be stronger in tackling some of the most pressing challenges facing our planet and our people. And it's a realization as well from all of us that the challenges we are dealing with today, they are existential in nature, that we cannot avoid or we cannot afford not to work together in tackling them. When we talk about climate change or we talk about issues related to protecting the integrity and the dignity of the human beings around the world, these are issues that cannot be dealt with in the boundaries of one country. So the Sustainable Development Goals, they are 17 goals agreed by the international community with the participation of civil societies, governments, private sector, individuals, youth movements, they all contributed to the adoption of 17 goals that could make the world a better place by the year 2030. So these goals were adopted in 2015. In fact, at that time, as Prasanna said in his introduction, I was working at the United Nations, and I had the honor of being very much involved in that process of negotiating the SDGs and that historic and iconic moment of adopting them. However, my friends, 5 years later, these amazing and lofty goals, the much needed manifesto for how the world should be, we're still making little progress to realize them. And this generation of young people cannot afford to see the SDGs fail. And here I want to tell you a story that I always reflected on when I was a bit younger. You know, sometimes when an old person comes to make a speech, and they would tell you as young people that our generation didn't do a good job. Your generation should do a better job. I feel that this generation cannot be in a position in 30, 40, 50 years to even say this statement anymore to another generation, because the climate change is becoming such an irreversible problem that if we don't tackle it today, we will be in a much more terrible situation as member states of the United Nations. So we need to really refocus again our energy and our efforts towards the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals. The clock is ticking, as you all know, and we have 10 years left, and that was the observance that is planned in New York this year by the United Nations, that 10 years left to achieve 17 goals. We have more goals than years left, and we're still not there. And we cannot really afford, as a humanity, as this largest generation of young people, to see these goals being wasted. Because as I said, some of the challenges we are dealing with are such irreversible in nature that late realization that we need to act later will not serve us. So that's the problem statement, my friends. This is exactly the challenge we are seeing ahead of us. And that's why, as a movement committed for the prosperity and the sustainability of our planet and our people for over 113 years, when we see the SDGs as offering us a way forward to make this place a better place for everyone and make this world a better world for everyone, we have to team up with all those actives to achieve them. So as we start in these conversations, you will be learning about each one of these goals. And I invite you to go and check the SDGs hub that we made available. It's providing some very concrete and easy things that every one of us can do to make sure that we are advancing the work that was achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Go check the SDG hub, learn more about the SDGs and the various goals from our speakers. Some of the speakers we have today, they are very distinguished with their experience. To name a few, my sister, Mari Nakano, who's a former member of the World Scout Committee and an experience in education, a very passionate leader, but also I see in the screen many leaders who are very committed to advancing this cause. So we can be proud that in Scouting, we are actually making efforts under Scout for SDGs to make the world's largest contribution to achieve them. But we need to make noise around them. We need to take actions to achieve them. And we need to make others being jealous so they can also match us with these activities so we'll be able to achieve the SDGs. So this is my invitation to all of you, my friends, today, that we together, we will be able to advance the SDGs, and this series of conversation hopefully will put us on a track to once again reestablish the priorities to achieve the SDGs and to really work strongly as a movement that is lifting others with us to achieve that target. 17 goals, 10 years left, and these are the actions we have. You are members of a movement that is very committed to achieve these goals, and I invite you all to learn as much as possible, put your action plan, how you can contribute to each one of the goals. Nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. You don't need to achieve all of the 17 goals, but you can take the area that is you're most passionate about, and you can design what actions you would like to take. I'm very passionate about this because this is our last best chance as a humanity to bring back this planet on a sustainable path. And I count on all of you to be Scouts for SDGs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. thank you very much for a very energetic address to all of us. I'm sure that we can pick up from your point. This is 10 years to go and 17 goals, great targets to be achieved. And what can we do? What should be our share? What should be our part? 50 million scouts around the globe now, 100 million young people to be engaged in all those by 2023. We can make a difference. Definitely, we can make a difference. We have to just play our part. And to make this happen and make you play your part, here we are with this series of SDG webinars so that you can better develop your understanding to this and commit on the day of International Day of Peace, that is 21st September. Friends, in Asia Pacific, we don't organize the International Day of Peace celebration for a day. We organize this celebration for a day for you to pledge for the whole year to continue. And when the next 21st September comes, we can evaluate ourselves. Whatever I have pledged, have I done that? If yes, let's celebrate. If not, then let's pledge once again and ensure that next 21 September we will celebrate it. Friends, this is not only a SDG seminars that the webinars that we are organizing for you in conjunction with the International Day of Peace, but I am sure that many of you know that this is also going to be in conjunction with the Global Goal Weeks by United Nations, which is going to start on 18th of this month and will conclude on 26th of this month. So we are in conjunction with the International Day of Peace as well as Global Goals Week. Friends, before we go ahead, we would like to introduce you the first speaker of the day, Mrs. Marie Nakano. So here I present you Ms. Marie Nakano, the speaker for us. She is from Japan. She has served as the World Scout Committee member from 2011 to 2017, dealing with educational methods. She was a chairman of the 23rd World Scout Jamboree Management Team. She has served the Asia Pacific region in different capacities, right from the chairman of the program committee and many other positions there. She did not hold the position for the purpose of the position, but she served. She served the young people. She was always with the young people around. And that's why she knows the facts. What are the challenges of the field? And that's why we invited her today. And she will be talking to us on Goal 1. She presently is the WASM consultant for Better World Framework. So here we present you Ms. Marie Nakano to discuss with you on Goal 1. I'm sure you know the Goal 1. I will not tell you now. Thank you and welcome, Madam Marie Nakano.
Thank you, Prasanna. Yes, well, I think I know about Goal 1, and I hope everybody knows it. Well, okay, anyway, it was really the passionate and energetic speech by Ahmed. And that gave us a really push that we really have to work for the last 10 years. We only have 10 more years. So we really have to work hard. So anyway, welcome to the first session on SDGs. And so far, I think we have nearly 100 people, 100 participants in this session room. And as Prasanna said, nearly 1,000 at the end of the Facebook, live session. Okay, so I see you are all from all over APR. I see Pakistan, Singapore, Nepal, Indonesia, Taiwan, yes, from all over India. Yeah, nice to see Bhutan, and nice to see all the names in the chat. Okay, so welcome. So once again, my name is Marie Nakano. I'm currently a Deputy International Commissioner of Scout Association of Japan. And as Prasanna said, I'm a WASM consultant for the Better World Framework. I hope you know the Better World Framework, but I will talk about it a little bit later. So today I'm talking from Japan, and as internet traffic is very heavy on weekend around my community, so I sometimes have difficulty uploading heavy items on webinar. So therefore, I have Kate in the APR office supporting me and uploading my presentation. And I will use Slido or for interactive polls, and there will be some breakout discussion as well. And so please be prepared. So, but if any inconvenience because of the heavy traffic of the internet connection, please I just say sorry beforehand. And I hope you will get a good and inspiring information out of my presentation to implement some facts around this goal. So next slide, please. Is my slide on? Kate, can you put the slide, please? Yeah, the next slide, please. Okay. So, first of all, I'm asking you, what is poverty for you? Can you use a Slido, or if not able to use Slido, comment it in the chat. What is poverty for you? This is a question. Yeah, lack of basic necessities. Yes. What else? Inequality. Yeah, can someone, yeah. Well, Kate, can you put the Slido access? It's not in. Yeah, poverty means lack of food, clothing, and shelter, income less than the cost of living. Yeah, is the Slido working now, or? Jeff? Okay, poverty is state or condition in which a person or community lacks the financial resources and essentials for a minimum standard of living. Poverty means that the income level from employment is so low that basic human needs can't be met. Okay, lack of food. Yes, lack of food and lack of clothes, lack of everything, right? So is the Slido working? I don't see, still not working?
It's working.
Okay. Is it
It's
working? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see the result here, so. Okay, one replied, okay. Okay, lack of money. Yeah, lack of minimum requirements for daily life, yes. Non-availability of peace, food, etc. Yeah, right, yes, hunger. Lack of thinking. Okay, so you can come up with many words regarding, yeah, lack of money is the biggest. Thank you very much. So next slide, please, then. Yeah, the third one. Third, yeah. Okay, so no poverty. End poverty in all its form everywhere is the title for this target. And you came out with a lot of words around this, right? But I think that no money is the biggest one. And it's not only a story in poor countries, but even in developed, so rich countries, there are people suffering from poverty. And because of COVID-19 situation, many people are struggling physically, socially, economically, mentally, emotionally, and which brings some of them into severe extreme poverty as well. Next slide, please. So according to the latest report by the World Bank, 10% of the world population, or 734 million people, live in less than $2 per day. And 1/3 of the entire urban population living in a slum. For every 1,000 children born, there are 39 children die even before they turn 5 years old. And up until today, 600,472,763 people are in extreme poverty. And every second, there are people who stepped out from it. But as I've mentioned, we should not be happy too early. World Bank stated in this April, that first time since 1998, the global poverty rates will rise as the global economy falls into recession as a result of pandemic COVID-19. So what can we do, or what should we do to achieve the goal by the year 2030? So let's see the video on the poverty now.
I
There's no
think we lost the
sound.
voice.
There's poverty
Yeah.
every people all over the world. People live in poverty. You probably know what it feels like when you can't afford something you really want. But poverty isn't the same thing. Poverty is when people live without basic things they really need, like food, water, a place to live, or money to buy clothes, education, and healthcare. Without these, life is really hard. And there's poverty in every country, even rich ones, which doesn't seem very fair. Nobody wants poverty. So have you ever wondered why it happens? All sorts of things can cause poverty. Wars can mean families have to leave their homes or aren't able to find food. Governments sometimes make bad decisions about how to spend their money. If they don't spend money on hospitals, people might get sick and be unable to work. And if they can't earn money at work, they're at risk of poverty. Lack of education can lead to poverty too. We all go to school to learn things that can help us get a job. Some children aren't able to go to school, so it might be harder for them to get jobs when they get older. Even natural disasters like earthquakes, tsunamis, or droughts can lead to poverty. Droughts mean no rain. Without rain, crops don't grow and farmers can't sell them for money. And there's not enough food for them or anyone else to eat. Not having enough to eat can also lead to serious diseases that can make it even harder to get out of poverty. It might seem kind of complicated, but the good news is that there are lots of things we can do right now to help people who are living in poverty. Giving is a great way to start. You can donate clothes, bedding, toys, books, even food to those who need it. You and your family can also volunteer. Instead of donating stuff, you can give your time to help a charity that's working to end poverty. Maybe ask an adult to help you find one in your city. By taking action, everyone can help in the fight against poverty and make the world a fairer place, starting with you.
Thank you very much, Kate. Can you go back to the slide, please? Somebody said my voice is cracking. Is it better now? I'm using mic now, so I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah, it's better now.
It's better. Okay, good. So I will try to use this then. So can you go back to the slide, please? Slide 6. Okay. So each goal equipped with several targets, as you know. And for goal 1, there are 7 targets. And everyone can help to make sure that we meet the global goals by 2030 by accomplishing these targets. And we are requested to use these 7 targets to create action to end poverty in all its forms. It shows only 6 here, but there are 7. So I will go one by one, right? So next slide, please. So the 1.1, target 1.1 is the eradicate extreme poverty. As I said earlier, 10% of the population live in extreme poverty, still live in extreme poverty. And which means 1 person in every 10 is extremely poor. So the target is to eradicate extreme poverty for all people in the world. Next, please. Okay, target 1.2, reduce poverty by at least 50% by 2030. Reduce at least by half the proportion of men, women, and children of all ages living in poverty in all its dimensions according to national definitions. It defines from country to country, so it's based on the national reality, but they are asking 50%. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, 1.3, implement social protection systems. Implement nationally appropriate social protection systems and measures for all, including floors, and by 2030, achieve substantial coverage of the poor and the vulnerables. And 1.4, equal rights to ownership, basic services, technology, and economic resources. So by 2030, ensure that all men and women, in particular the poor and the vulnerable, have equal rights to economic resources, as well as access to basic services, ownership, and control over land and other forms of property, inheritance, natural resources, appropriate new technologies, and financial services, including microfinance. Next. Okay, 1.5, build resilience to environmental, economic, and social disasters. By 2030, build the resilience of the poor and those in vulnerable situations and reduce their exposure and vulnerable to climate-related extreme events and other economic, social, and environmental shocks and disasters. I think because of the climate change, we are having really the strange, climate nowadays, and disasters and typhoons and many things. But at the same time, I think this COVID situation is counted under this as well, because we are having the very difficult economic situation, and that result influence a lot of people around the world. Okay, next one, please. 1.A. So mobilize resources to implement policies to end poverty. Ensure significant mobilization of resources from a variety of sources, including through enhanced development cooperation, in order to provide adequate and predictable means for developing countries, in particular least developed countries, to implement program and policies to end poverty in all its dimensions. And the last one, 1.B, is a create pro-poor and gender-sensitive policy frameworks. Create sound policy frameworks at the national, regional, and international levels based on pro-poor and gender-sensitive development strategies to support accelerate investment in poverty eradication actions. Well, it is still true in some countries that there are there is a big gap between ratios for men and women. And even the roles at work sometimes are strictly limited for women, which is causing poverty among women. Okay, so next slide. What can we do? Or what should we do as scouts? Next slide, please. I think we are going back the slide, isn't it? Can you
Next
go
slide,
to
please.
next slide, please? Can you go
Kate,
all the
have
way
have
to
we
the
lost
Scouts
you?
for SDGs?
Kate, have we lost you?
Somebody is saying that my voice is really breaking, is it?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's due to the internet connection.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Kate, can you move the slide? Kate, can you hear me? Okay, I think Kate has lost, so let me share the screen. Uh, Anybody on the backup to share the screen? Okay. I will share the screen by the time Kate comes back. Just let me know, Marisan, which is the slide you need now. Is this the one?
The 15, the Scouts
50.
for SDGs with
Okay.
URL for the video.
Yeah. Can you see this right screen now?
Yep.
Is this the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want you to play the video. Oh, that's a next one. That one before with a video.
Okay. Kate, video, please.
In 2015, humanity came together with a call to action for a better world by 2030. They agreed on 17 sustainable development goals to end poverty, improve health and education, reduce inequalities, and tackle climate change. It's going to take the entire world to make these goals a reality. And who better to lead the charge than 50 million scouts? You may know us as the ones who give a helping hand to the elderly, keep forests clean, run donation drives, or who are generally just good, active citizens. And have you heard of the Scouts welcoming refugees in Turkey? Or leading peace talks in Colombia? Or the ones giving thousands of students access to clean water in South Sudan? We've already completed over 1 billion hours of community service for the SDGs. Whether it's something really big or really small, we can all do something to make these goals a reality. By taking millions of local actions in almost every community, we're making the world's largest youth contribution to the SDGs. We're just trying to make this world a little better every day. We're Scouts for SDGs.
Thank you very much. Please go to the next slide, please. I hope the sound is getting better. I'm so sorry for those who are not hearing me well. The 16th slide, the green one, yes. So since this is the first session talking about the SDGs, and well, the office told me to speak a little bit about the Scouts for SDGs. So I think all of you are already very much aware with for SDGs, but here is what it says about what is Scouts for SDGs. And so Scout for SDGs is a mobilization of 50 million. Actually, it is already 54 million now, but 54 million scouts that leverage the Scout Youth Program and the movement's initiatives under the Better World Framework, including the flagship Messengers of Peace initiative to raise awareness and take action towards the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So we really have to work for this SDGs, but in order to work for the SDGs, there is a framework called Better World Framework to support the work for the SDGs. Next slide, please. So the sustainable development is commonly defined as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So this was proposed in a Brundtland report. So by 2030, all Scouts acquire the key competencies to promote sustainable development. It's cracking away again, so sorry. So not to use microphone this close, maybe? Prasanna, is this better now?
Yeah, I can hear you clear.
Okay. So next slide, please. Next. Next one. Next one. Next slide, please. Yeah, right. Yeah, this one. Sorry. Yeah. So by completing its purpose of creating active global citizens, Scouting contributes to achieving the SDGs, right? The opportunity here is to go further and strengthening the educational proposal of the youth program when it comes to education for sustainable development. And aligning to the SDGs is the very good opportunity, and to inspire more young people by telling the stories. We tell stories to others, and to become more sustainable as an individual, making community more resilient, and to be part of the global agenda, and to ensure Scouting continued relevance for society, and to strengthen partnerships and improve fundraising. So next one, please. So what actually is the Better World Framework? Framework is a set of coordinated programs, campaigns, calls to action, and events designed to develop the competencies of young people to become global active citizens by taking action around issues related to sustainable development. So these are the logos of the programs under Better World Framework surrounding the SDG pin. And next slide, please. So this is a chart of all programs and initiatives under Better World Framework. How many programs, campaigns, call to action, and events have you done or participated? Can you name initiative you know in the Slido? I hope you know all the names of this, programs.
Friends, you have to pick up the Slido again with the QR code.
Yeah, Petromonito. Okay, you know Petromonito. Good. Okay, Scouts of the World Award, World Scout Environmental Program, Scout Go Solar. What else? Yeah, so Scouts of the World Award is the biggest right now. MOP, Earth Thrive. What else? Ticket to Life, yes. Okay, environmental program. Hegemony, yes. And, okay, Ticket to Life is here. Yes. The word farmer tribe dialogue. Yeah, he for she. Dialogue for Peace, MOP, Scouts of the World Award. I'm really happy that he for she is getting bigger in this poll. Dialogue for Peace. First tribe. First tribe is still small. Yunga, right. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go back to the slide now then. Okay, so somebody mentioned about the Earth Tribe. And Earth Tribe is a new environment program launched this June, as you know. I think there is a Earth Tribe Facebook page as well. And it is to replace the World Scout Environment Program. So this is a, I have here, actually I had the really old chart here, but I kind of replaced the World Scout Environment Program into Earth Tribe now. And you can see that Scout Go Solar badge is going under the Earth Tribe, and there is a new badge because I think some of you have remembered that there was a kind of panda badge, you know, in collaboration with the World WWF, but a panda badge is now back. And plus to that, there is a plastic tide turners badge talking about the Earth with pollution. Okay, so next slide, please. So this is a these initiatives and programs have been linked to the SDGs. And this can be an example of how you look at your current youth program and align it with the SDGs that you tackle. So MOP and Scouts of the World Award can cover all 17 goals, while other programs and initiatives cover only some. But if you do this exercise, never forget that the SDGs are interconnected and indivisible. Work on one goal will always influence the other goals, and vice versa. And this list, this list is still not updated with new initiatives. So you can see here that only MOP and Scouts of the World Award are the tools dealing with goal 1. But if you change the World Environment Program into Earth Drive, maybe that can tackle target 1 as well. So next slide, please. So I picked up some of the initiatives here. SDGs, Earth Drive, the World Award, Dialogue for Peace, and History. And as I said before, Earth Drive new environment program consisted of 3 programs: nature, clean energy, and healthy planet. And nature also covers our lifestyle and biodiversity. And clean energy involved renewable energy. One of them is solar power. And healthy planet covers pollution, especially with plastic. And as you take close look of each program, there are some points related with solution for goal 1. And pink and black one on the right corner is he for she initiative. This also connects with goal 1. As I mentioned earlier, there is a gender issue among the cause of poverty. Yes, there is a goal 5 tackling with gender equity, but as I said earlier, all goals are interconnected. It does not have to be single goal to work towards. So there are many programs that you can think of. Okay, next slide, please. So going back to goal 1, have you ever visited scout.org website regarding SDGs? Voice cracking again, so sorry, but I cannot do anything. So how there is a question about how can we earn the badges. I will tell you later, okay? Okay, so going back to goal 1, have you ever visited scout.org website regarding SDGs? And if you go to the, yes, right. If you go to the Scouts for SDG website, there is a button saying take action, right? And click there and you will be led to the page of goals, and click 1 to be led to this page. Yes, everybody knows, right? Saying a yes in the chat. And this page has a to-do list for the respective goals. Next slide, please. So I think everybody is saying that you know this page. I think you've already done this exercise on to-do list. Maybe you clicked all the lists already. Okay, so this is a to-do list for goal 1, and Scout can visit this page and work on the list and check when the task is done, right? And it is some sample actions connected to goal 1. So I'll say this is sample. You can add your own action later. But for instance, this says that 1 is discuss in your patrol what poverty means and what needs to be done to eliminate it in your community. And 2 is put yourself in someone else's shoes, spend the night in a cardboard shelter with your patrol. This sounds really interesting, isn't it? I think I would like to try this sometime, right? 3, poverty still persists in every country. So if over 8% of the global population, over 600 million, lives in extreme poverty, is 10% now. But write a short article about poverty and share it on social media. So sharing your idea is very important as well, right? And 4, support the family in need to start a business and organize a fundraising campaign in your Scout group to help them get it off the ground. Yes, something to make money. Right? 5, donate clothes that you know will need to a local charity instead of reselling or throwing them away. And 6 is raise awareness about poverty through the Messengers of Peace initiative. And for 7, you can add your custom action, your own action. And this list only talks about clothes, right? The number 5 is only talking about clothes, but actually, as you saw in the video, it can be books or food or furniture or anything useful, or workload can be useful too. Okay, next slide, please. So on the same page, in this web page, there is also a section of sharing best practices of other Scouts. And you can go one by one and check what they have done to work for the goal 1. Maybe there are people in this Zoom, session who've already, uploaded your project on this page. And I think you would also notice each project has not only one goal, but several goals related to one project. And there are about 18,000 projects listed under goal 1. So you can go one by one. Okay, you upload one, so somebody uploaded. one project. So you can go one by one to check what they've done and learn what you can do to meet the needs of the goal one. Okay. Please send a no. We're not doing the Slido now. So yes, we are. No, I'm just reading the chat page. So it's not the Slido now. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, please. So there are many good practices which are projects under Messenger's Peace Initiative. You saw in the chart of the Better World Framework, and Messages of Peace is the one related highly with the goal one as well. I mean, related with all the goals of sustainable development. And now I'd like to invite Prasanna, who is a director of MOP in the region, to share with us some good practices. Prasanna, can you take the floor?
Thank you, Marisa. Thank you so much. And as Marisan has gone through the no poverty, and you have all seen what Scouts can do. And as I see from the participants list, most of you have been involved and engaged with Messengers of Peace program, as well as other world programs. And let me start with a few examples that you have taken. I remember that in the Boy Scouts of the Philippines, the TTL is one of the project which has been working with underprivileged young people. And those who would have seen the stories on scout.org, you might have seen that the leader of this particular project keeps not only engaging these underprivileged young people who are in fact had been spending their time on the streets, are now being engaged with the scout program. And this scout program also helps them to go back to the school. And that is one step ahead, not only towards the no poverty, but also to the education, quality education, another SDG. They also do some kind of vocational training. I have been personally seen them preparing some kind of products at their own, which is sellable, and like washing liquids and others which they used to prepare, and it is sold, and that brings them some kind of income. I'm not saying that this is a total good, very great example for no poverty, but this is where the young people are being trained on how to uh, cope up and get the livings. Similarly, there are certain vocational training events for young people that had been organized in India, in Indonesia. Uh, so there are several other projects. If you will go to scout.org, where you will see that not only under Messengers of Peace program, but also in several other activities, young people are being uh, trained on how to earn their living through the skills, through education, through certain other areas. So this is what is being trained. Now, how do we how do one way of supporting young people through scouting or supporting for no poverty is building capacity. And that is one of the major area of Messengers of Peace, where we talk about uh, how do you build capacity. There is a saying that you give someone for one time uh, uh, any amount in terms of cent and dollars, in terms of food, in terms of shelter. But what happens after that is all consumed? But if you build capacity in people, if you build capacity in terms of attitude, in terms of knowledge, and in terms of skills, then this is a way forward for them to come over the situation they are in terms of poverty. So that is what the Messengers of Peace is doing, particularly in building capacity. We have hundreds of them which you can see on www.scout.org, and you will find several of that kind of projects which are being running. So I don't think that I will take much of your time in between. So back to Marisan.
Thank you very much. Next slide, please. Okay, so since I'm from Japan, I'd like to share with you a project which Scout Association of Japan conducts. We have a collaboration with Uniqlo. Uniqlo is a fashion brand, and I'm sure many of you have Uniqlo stores in your countries as well. And this is project Clothes for Refugees, and we have already donated over 10 million clothes last year to this called Congo, I think. And next slide, please. And twice a year, Scouts bring clothes which no longer in use to the local Uniqlo stores. And Uniqlo will sort out all the clothes and package them by sizes and send them to refugees or developing countries with help of UNHCR. And UNHCR is the one to distribute these clothes to those in need. And among the 18,000 refugees, nearly 11,000 are under 18 years old. So this project creates strong tie between Japanese Scouts and children in difficult circumstances. And this is becoming a quite popular project in Japan. Next slide, please. So many of you have participated in the 23rd World Scout Jamboree, maybe. And this is not a part of youth program, but more of the management side. But food distribution is always a big task at many, big events. So there is always leftover of food and unused food. And so at the 23rd World Scout Jamboree, we had a collaboration with Food Bank Japan to donate those extra foods. So actually, Japan is the world's third largest economy, yet its poverty rate is high. And with 1 out of 7 children living below the threshold. So recent years, there have been a lot of volunteers opening, restaurants of kids where any kids having difficulty can go and have dinner with lowest money. And the SAJ thoughts about opening this kind of restaurant to support those kids and difficulties. And next slide, please. And because of COVID-19 lockdown and difficulties, young people had to stay home and less chance of going out. And parents lose his job. And because of the pandemic, and Scout Association, together with Japanese government, to conduct some outdoor activities or nature game type of fun to invite those young people to have chance to enjoy activities and release the stress. And this project involves all Scout Council to offer programs at the grassroots level. So this is just an example of what Scout Association of Japan is doing. So you've heard a lot of examples from Prasanna, and I think I gave you enough hint to do your project. And if we have time, I would like to go into the group discussion, but Prasanna, do we have enough time to do that, or are we short of time?
No, we are almost completing your time.
Okay, so well, actually, I was planning to have a group discussion for you to share your own ideas or experiences, but because of the the part of the problem is my connection. I'm so sorry, but I hope you got the enough information to deal with goal 1. So next slide, please, then. So I prepared the Q&A session here, but since time is limited, maybe you can upload the question to chat or to send it to the APR office. We have the goal of SDGs, then we become MOP and Scouts of the World applicable, because it is necessary complete all the SDGs for these 2. But ma'am, all batch is covered inside all SDGs. then after completing all the SDGs, then after completing MOP and other badges with Scouts of the World badge also achieve together. I think you can, I mean, all badges are kind of interconnected. So actually, basically, if what you're doing is filling the objective or filling the obligation of each, for instance, like MOP or Scouts of the World Award, I think you should be able to earn, all badges. On badges, program, or our donation drive, relief giving, and other charity works are considered band-aid solution. How can we say that our project is sustainable if it is just a band-aid solution? I'm sorry, I don't understand about the band-aid solution. What is band-aid solution? Maybe someone can answer later. But anyway, I think the time is limited. So I think I should close my session now. I'm sorry for the inconvenience with my poor connection. And so there are still people in extreme poverty, but with the COVID pandemic situation around you is also changing drastically, and poverty is happening everywhere now. And let your scout look around and observe, and let them being inspired by the situation, and enable them to change the situation and deliver whatever you can do to make a positive change. So that is what I can say to you. And thank you very much for listening. And now I would like to close the session.
So thank you very much, Marisan. It was I understand dealing with a sustainable development goal in a 40 minutes is not enough, but I think you have done justice with your presentations. Our people have a general understanding about what is goal 1 on sustainable development goal, and how scouting connects in contributing to it, and what scouts or young people or even individuals can do. And thank you for posting the 2 questions here, one with Mr. Gabi Jackin, and another one, there is one more from Aniket. Okay, so we will take these 2 questions right now, and then we will move to the second one, but you can keep on posting your questions. If we will have time at the end, we will definitely come back to you and answer the questions. But just in case we don't have time, you will receive your answers from somewhere from our team sometimes. So don't hesitate to put your questions on the chat box, and definitely you will have an answer. Coming back to our Band-Aid solutions, and you are talking particularly on sustainable. Friends, I always talk, when I talk about the project management, I always say that the project is sustainable when it is set, so it doesn't mean that the project is going for lifelong. The project is always having a start and having an end, so is the Band-Aid project. So they have a short-term project, a start and an end. But when you talk about sustainability, it is more about the impact of that particular project is sustainable, means the capacity that you have built either in the community or in the individual, or the message that you have passed on through that project is sustainable, and that will sustain in the people, in the community, in the society, or for whatever it has directed to. So basically, I think that we have to understand that project sustainability means the impact will sustain, the whatever change that project has brought will sustain and will have a long-term effect on that. I think that is what we need to understand about the sustainability, because projects always starts and end. If it does not end, there is no, it's not a project. So thank you very much for that. And with this, let us give a round of applause for Marisan. Great work done in the first session itself of our webinar. And we will straight away move to our second presenter today on Goal 2. And let me introduce you our second presenter today. And he is Mr. I hope you can all see the screen. He is Mr. Basokoda S.K. Shali from Africa region. He comes from Cameroon. And Mr. Baskoda is a member of a Better World Framework Unit Educational Method voice stream since 2017. He is currently a member of the Messengers of my laptop doesn't want to leave Marisan, but anyway. So Mr. Baskoda is currently a member of the Messengers of Peace Africa core team. He is also a WASM consultant uh, for last 2 years, I believe, and he has been awarded as an Messengers of Peace hero in 2017. So let's all welcome Mr. Baskoda. And for goal 2, again, I don't have the name of the goal here. I hope you all know about it. So thank you very much, Mr. Baskoda. Floor is yours. Kelvin, great. So you are still traveling. Welcome. Please unmute Mr. Baskoda, Kevin.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prasanna, for the presentation, and thank you, Kate, for the backup. After a very interesting session, which have been presented by Marinako, I will continue the flow and to another goal, important goal also for the Scout and for the world in general. We'll try to talk for 40 minutes about the goal number 2, which is one of the goals that have been defined by the UN, and which is one of the goals which is really important for the Asia Pacific region, especially the country which are in the south of the world, specifically Africa and Asia. So I hope that we will be really engaged and will receive most information which could help us to define good project and have a make action in our community. So I hope Kate could help me with sharing the screen, or should I do it?
We can share it for you.
Okay.
Do you want me to share the screen?
Yeah. Okay, good. As I was saying, we will discuss about the goal number 2, which is zero hunger. And this goal is really important for us, specifically for Asia. I will focus my purpose on how you people from Asia, particularly, you could address these goals. Next slide, please. So what is the plan for this session? We will just have 3 points. The first point will be to introduce the goal, to give you most information about what the goal is for and what is the objective of the goals and the aims of this goal. You will focus and go deeper in the second point to exploring the UN set target. As you have seen on for the previous presentation, we have certain target that the UN have defined, and we will discuss and present it. And the last point will be to link this goal, specific goal, with the Scout for SDGs. And we'll explore the do list and to-do list, and presenting that, and you will see how, as a Scout, you can contribute. And maybe before the closing, we will present a set of activities which have been done in Asia or in other parts of the world, or the region, which help to attain the aim of these goals. Next, please. So first of all, I want that we have a look for this important quote from the UN. I have picked up this quote in the website of the UN. Hunger is the leading cause of the death in the world. Hunger is the leading cause of death in the world. So if you can think about all the problems that we have, all things we can cause death, accident, catastrophe, pandemics, war, and other things, the hunger is the leading cause. So it means that if you want to address the problem of death in the world, we should take a time to make a reflection about the hunger and how you can resolve this problem. So the paradox is that in our planet, actually, we have many resources, but we have unequal access or inefficient handling people to malnourished. So we have to resolve this problem, this paradox, because we have enough resources, but less people can access to these resources. And we have this problem of hunger. So this quote will be really interesting to have it in mind and to think what solution we can bring as a scout to resolve this problem. Next, please. So we'll get started and discuss about to introduce the goal. Next. So you have a very good infographic that I have picked up in the site of which summarize what is the goal number 2 and what the goal number 2 want to achieve. So first of all, this goal want to end the hunger. That is the first thing that this goal want to achieve. And by to end this hunger in the world, we want to achieve food security. As I have mentioned earlier, you have not everybody who have access to these resources, and sometimes people produce food, have food, but some catastrophe can reach flooding, headquarter, and people can lose their productivity, their food. So another important part for this goal is to achieve food security. And the last part is to improve nutrition. Is to achieve food security and improve nutrition. And the last part is to promote sustainable agriculture. If you go deeper during the week, you will see that we have other goals which are linked to environmental problem or preservation of livelihood. So we don't need to resolve a problem and create another problem. That is not what we want as a human being and as a scout. We just want to resolve a problem, but to not create another problem. So that is why we are focused about promote a sustainable agriculture. During the presentation of target, I will make focus on how we could reach this level of things. Next slide, please. So what does it matter when you talk about zero hunger? Next. You will see that when you talk about zero hunger, you want to achieve, you want to create a condition where people, everybody could access food. And we see that if people are hunger, it is a barrier, a great barrier to sustainable development, because we have a gap. People cannot be hunger and easily escape from this situation. So it is a very great problem, and it is why, as a human being, as a scout, you have to make a reflection to provide a solution to extreme hunger and malnutrition, because it is a great barrier to reach our goal, which is the sustainable development. Next. Another point is also that when we deal to zero hunger, it is that hunger and malnutrition means less productive individuals. As we say sometime with a popular proverb in Africa, when someone is hunger, he can think, he can have happiness, he can walk. So if you want to have a develop country, to develop other area, to protect environment, to have equality between gender, we have to resolve this problem. We have to address this problem, because if one person is hunger, he don't get very good food, he can't be productive, he can't address other problems. So and when people also are malnutritious, they can develop many diseases, and they are not able to improve their livelihood. So it is why we need to think about these goals and to find solution. Next. So I have picked some statistic to help us to see with number what how deeper the problem is actually, and how we could bring solution to that. The first statistic is that 8.9% of the world population, if we think about, we are around 7 billion, if I'm right, and 8%, so near to 9% of the world population are hungry. This means that 619 million of people are hungry. This is very, you do see the number of people. So it is a lot of people. Next. And this is why it is interesting for the APR region in particular. The majority of these world undernourished people are still found in Asia. So around 381 million of people in Asia, in our region, are undernourished. So as a scout, what do you think, as a human being first, and as a scout, what do you think, how we could address this problem, which is a very great problem in our region, actually? Next. So another important statistic is about the level of food insecurity. And you see that if we take 1 on 10 people in the world, we see that 1 on 10 people in the world are affected by several levels of food insecurity. That means that sometimes if we have to get food from a place, people are facing catastrophe. They lose their food. They don't have very safe food, and they are touched by the hunger. So this number is around 715 million of people. This is very large scale of people. So we have to address it and to think about how we could work, what kind of action we could do to reduce this gap. Next slide, please. Next. So continue with this statistic. You have put all. The first one is that we know that we are around 7 billion. If I'm right, we are around 7 billion in the world, and 2 billion of people in the world do not have regular access to safe, nutritious, and sufficient foods. What does it mean concretely? We have a great part of human being which sometimes don't have access to food. Sometimes when they have access to food, it is not safe food or nutritious food. And other time when they can have access to food, this is not sufficient for them, for their family, for example. So you see this gap. In one side, maybe you have a lot of people who have a lot of food, and in another part, you have people who don't have food. You have another part, some people who have the choice to choose what kind of food they want to consume. And in another part, we don't have this choice. So how we could make an equilibrium of these two situations. Next. And we know that scouting is about young people. It is about children, and we want to make a good education for children. We want to engage them, and we see that children are one of the group which is touched by hunger. And you see 3 on 4 of 100, more than 100 million of children under age of 5 were affected by stunning. And 3 of 4 living in Southern Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. As I have told at the beginning, this particular goal address our area of Asia and Africa in particular. And we have to think more. I don't say that we have to avoid the other goals, but these goals seems to touch us particularly. So what can we do to resolve this problem? What can we do for these more than 100 persons who are touched by the stunning? Next. So all this statistic is made in 2019, and you continue to see that on 6.9, more than near to 7% children under 5 were affected by wasting or acute undernutrition. So this is important, and you have to think about that and give a solution. Next. So we have presented all the situation, and now we will address the UN set target, and we will try to discuss more about it and tell how we can focus about the content of these goals. Next. So actually you see the target 2.1 and target 2.2. The target 2.1 is about the universal access to safe and nutritious food. What is the aim here? We want to end the hunger at the all, and we want to ensure the access to all the people, in particular people who are poor and vulnerable which are in vulnerable situation. So you can include infant, you can include elders, to give them nutritious and sufficient food during the year, because we see in your region, sometimes you have a period where you have food and period you don't have food. So we have to ensure this safe, nutritious, and sufficient food during the year. The target 2.2 is about end all form of malnutrition. And we address this target to resolve the problem of stunting and wasting, which touch the children under 5 years of age. and this address particularly adolescent girl, pregnant, and lactating women and older person. Next slide. So now we have the target 2.3 and 2.4. The target 2.3 is to double the productivity and incomes of small-scale food producer. As we have said, sometimes we have area where we don't have a lot of food, and we have area where we have food. But globally, we see that we are near to 7 billion of people in the world actually, and we want to produce more to be able to resolve the problem of hunger for everybody. And by this target, we want to give an equal access to land and to help people to produce good food and to resolve problem between pastoralists and people who make agriculture. For the target 2.4, it is about the sustainable food production and resilient agricultural practice. As I have told earlier, we don't need to create another problem. Yes, we want to produce more, to have safe food, but land is, we need to have forest, we need to preserve our life in ocean, we life in lands. So we want to think about methods, practice, good agricultural practice and sustainable agricultural practice to don't create another problem, but to resolve the problem which are there. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, could you move to the next slide?
Kate, can you move the slides?
Seems
maybe her
you have lost her.
connection. Can somebody else help get out and
Okay,
get
I
in?
will continue. And
I will continue.
okay.
Vasudha, you continue.
Okay.
We will share the slides. Yeah.
Okay. So the next slide is about the target 2.5 and the target 2.8. And the target 2.5 is about maintain the genetic diversity in food production. And sometimes maybe you know the question about the debate about the OMG and other things, how we could produce food which is natural and food which is not natural. And this debate is very hard. And we have to keep in mind that if you want to resolve the problem of hunger, to produce more food, we have to have in your mind that this food have to be natural. More, you have to work to be have a bio production. Don't use fertilize and any bad product, for example. The target 2.A is to invest in the rural infrastructure, agricultural research, technology, and gene banks. Sometime in our region, we have a separation between town and rural area. And sometimes rural area are the place where you produce and you bring to the town. So this is not a very sustainable model. And we think that we have to help people who are in a rural area, who are facing more problems than people who are in town in some space, to help them to resolve some problem. So this passed by research in technology and research in agriculture, to provide them extension service and livestock gene bank, for example. So that is one of the things what we want to achieve. Next slide. So the Next slide is, and the last one about the specific target is the 2.B, which talk about the prevent agricultural trade restriction, market distortion, and export subsidy. And as we have said, sometimes we have a region, specifically in the north, which produce more food, or we have a diverse kind of production around the world, but we don't have circulation of these products. And this is due to trade restrictions sometimes. And this target is to help to break this barrier and to provide food where we have more production, we can bring it where we have less production, and to help people to avoid wasting, for example. And the last one, the target 2.C, is to about ensure stable food, commodity market, and timely access to information. Basically, we want here to adopt measures to ensure the proper functioning of food commodity market and their derivative, and facilitate timely access to market information, including on food reserve, in order to help limit extreme food price volatility. So sometimes due to the market business, people don't think about the hunger. People don't think that people want to eat, and they use the volatility of prices, and sometimes people don't have enough money to get the product. Next slide, please. So we have introduced the goal number 2. We have talked about UN target and how this goal is structured inside. Now we will, as a scout, we will scout and non-scout. We have to see how we could, what we can make, how we can help with our values to resolve this, to address this problem. Next. I will no longer come to present what is the scout for SDGs. Mary have done it very well, but have a look for this screenshot I have taken in Scout for SDGs platform. Basically, we see that what is the contribution statistically, the contribution of Scout in the Sustainable Development Goal. You see the number of service hour, more than 1 billion. You see a number of service action which have been made specifically in the area of Sustainable Development Goals, more than 6 million. And you see all kind of contribution that people are making on these things. So more than 50 millions. So what is Scout for SDGs? Next. You see that basically it is a systematic effort to raise awareness and take action for SDGs based on what are in our value as a Scout. And this value, we see that in Scout Youth Program and in the Better World Framework. Next. Next. So when you talk about zero hunger no, come to the previous one, please. So when you come to talking about zero hunger, the goal number 2 in Scouting is to see how Scouting could help young people to reach this goal. And the best manner is to help them to become a global active citizenship, which contribute to Sustainable Development Goal. This is a simplest definition of what we want to do and how we can achieve this goal. Next. And to achieve this goal, we have make a reflection in scouting, and this reflection has permitted us to define a list of action that we could do. Next, yes. So we have basically 10 kind of action. I have make a screenshot, but you can go to Scout for SDGs platform to see that. And basically you see kind of action that you could try to do and pick up, stick these action like a list. And with this 10 action, probably you could, as a scout, you could contribute to help. I will just present two of them. The first one is to put yourself in a sense of yes, yes. You have, for example, the to avoid wasting food. So we have kind of action to avoid wasting food. You have a challenge to avoid wasting food. You have a challenge to see how many times you could live with a few resources to understand well the problem. And you have many kind of action about that. Next. So how we could use this to-do list. First of all, you can try to complete all to-do list in all the SDGs. So this is one thing you can do. Another thing is that you can mark action and you have already done and save your list. And please, you can share also the product that you do and the action that you do and this. You can get inspired also by other scout below and add your own action to connect to this goal. And to be inspired, next slide, please. To be inspired, we have more information that you could find about the SDGs in the globalgoals.org, in UN.org, or in Scout SDGs.scout.com org. This is the place where you could see more action. I have not put in the slide good practice because I have seen a lot of practice that are done in Asia, and some action done to provide food to vulnerable people. Other action are make to produce food, safe food, and various action is to bring food to people who are facing disaster like headquarter or flooding. So this basically is a set of action that we could do. And don't forget to bring this action to the platform, which will help us to know that in your community you are active and you could bring more solution. So don't hesitate to visit this link and to share your action basically. Next. So thank you so much for the time that you have dedicated. And I hope that you have been inspired by this session. And if you have any question, I don't know, you could put in the chat, or if I have time, if Prasanna could say, I could try to answer maybe to one or two questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Simon Bascada. Such a great session in a very compiled and a very concentrated. Thank you so much, Simon, and joining Asia Pacific. I'm sure you will be here for the full period of the seminar, this webinars here on SDGs, and we can learn from each other a little bit more. Thank you so much for coming all the way from Africa to Asia. In this pandemic, I can see you in your car. That's great. So that's the only way now you can travel because there are no airlines around. So thank you very much. Without taking any more time, we will straight away move to our next goal, which is being presented by another icon of Asia Pacific region. And we will present you now the next speaker. She is Dr. Evelina M. Vicencio from the Philippines. Dr. Vicencio is presently the member of National Training Commission, Boy Scouts of the Philippines. She is consultant to the National Training Task Group, Boy Scouts of the Philippines. She has been the Dean of College of Education at University of the Philippines, East Manila, University of East Manila. She has been professor on University of the Philippines, and she has been on the Asia Pacific regional several committees supporting several activities and events around the region. I remember to have her with me in several of our events as our course leader, as our training counselor and consultant. So welcome, Dr. Avelina. And now you're here for the next goal. And I will again not tell you the goal. Name friends, I hope you remember what is the next goal for today. Thank you and welcome, Dr. Vicencio. Dr. Vicencio, you can go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, Prasanna. And greetings to JR. I hope he's there. And to Marie Nakano and Cecile and the other members of the Asia Pacific group. And Simon, I was listening to your talk and I got so many things, some ideas that we can do even here in the Philippines. Okay. Did you get my PowerPoint?
Okay, Kate, can you upload the PowerPoint from Dr. Vicencio?
I think, did you receive it?
Dr. Vicencio, is the same PowerPoint that we shared before, or you have changes?
I sent it earlier today. Can we show it? Where?
Is Jared can take it up? Dr. Vicencio, can Jared will put it up or we will put it ours?
Oh, this is the end.
Okay, Kate, can you upload?
I don't have a copy, sir.
No, the same one, the one we sent.
It's okay.
I sent it already. I sent it earlier. You didn't get it?
Maybe
there
there
it is.
Yeah.
There it
Okay.
is. Okay. The goal is sustainable development goal is goal 4, which is quality education. And I'm happy about the observation that was mentioned earlier, that there is a relationship among all the goals, which is good. I think that's an advantage. Okay. My regards to our friends from the Asia Pacific region. Is JR there? And Marie Nakano. Hi, Marie. Nice to get in touch with you again. Okay, goal 4. Who's going to click the chains? Okay, this is goal 4, quality education. Ensure inclusive and equitable education and lifelong learning opportunity. Very important words: inclusive, equitable, quality education, and lifelong learning. Education liberates the intellect, unlocks the imagination, and is fundamental for self-respect. It is the key to prosperity and opens a world of opportunities, making possible for each of us to contribute to a progressive, healthy society. Learning benefits every human being and should be available to all. Can you be the one to, okay. Why does education matter? Education enables upward socioeconomic mobility and is a key to escaping poverty. Education helps reduce inequalities and reach gender equality, and is crucial to foster what's happening? I cannot read it. Tolerance and more peaceful society. Okay, next slide, please. More than 200 million children, before this one is before the coronavirus crisis, more than 200 million children would be out of school. Only 60% of young people would be completing upper secondary education in 2030. The proportion of children and youth out of primary and secondary school had declined from 26% in 2000 to 19% in 2010, and anymore in 2018. 677 million youth worldwide lack basic mathematics and literacy skills, number and speaking and reading skills. Okay, next please. Some 750 million adults, two-thirds of them women, remained illiterate in 2016. Half global illiterate population lives in South, quarter live in sub-Saharan Africa. I experienced this because we lived in Africa for 2 years, assigned to Africa region of the World Scout Bureau for 2 years, and I joined him there. In 10 low and middle income countries, children with disabilities were 19% less likely to achieve minimum proficiency in reading than those without disabilities. 4 million uh, refugee children were out of school in 2017. Even in the Philippines, we have refugee children in Mindanao. Okay, and they're included in the 4 million refugees. Despite years of steady growth in enrollment rates, non-proficiency rates remain disturbingly high. In 2018, some 773 million adults, two-thirds of whom are women, remained illiterate in terms of reading and writing skills. I did not put any the statistics. There's a graph I can show. The is likely to set back progress on access to education. Uh, in the Philippines, yes, in Asia because of the COVID-19. Okay, these are the targets. Yes, can we go next slide? These are the targets for quality education. Target 1 is primary and secondary education. 2, equal access to pre-primary education. 3, equal access to affordable technical, vocational, and higher education. Target 4, increase the number of people with relevant skills for financial success. Target 5, cannot read it. Target 6, universal literacy and numeracy. Target 7, education for sustainable development and global citizenship. Target 8, 4A, build and upgrade inclusive and safe schools. I'll explain that later. Target 4B, expand higher education scholarships for developing countries. And target 4C, increase the supply of qualified teachers in developing countries. Next, please. I think these are the things that I read. Pre-primary and secondary. Okay, quality education. Education can be that opens lifetime of opportunity, but only if everyone has access to lifelong learning opportunities, whether inside or outside of the school. Lifelong learning is from womb to tomb. We don't stop learning. We start learning when we're still alive, and learning, we still keep learning until we die. Okay. This is, I think there are some that are missing. Anyway, this is my to-do list. Collect used books with your scout group and donate them to a library or school in a low-income neighborhood. 2. Lend your passion to a community center and volunteer to teach skills-based classes. 3. Visit a kindergarten and share your scouting experience to younger kids. Your creative ideas will inspire them. 4. Challenge yourself to learn something you've always wanted to learn. Spend at least 10 hours learning a new subject. 5. Can we go to 5? Tell your friends about the Sustainable Development Goals and the importance of sustainability. Make a video about Scouts and the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and share it on social media with the hashtag Scout for SDGs. 6. Learn about different career paths by inviting local artists and experts to have an afternoon mentorship and a media exchange session with your Scout group. 7. Only 1% of published books are available in Braille. Volunteer to write an audiobook to make more books accessible for the visually impaired. 8. Create a video or work in write an article about the SDGs and share it on social media with the hashtag there's the hashtag to teach your friends about the goals and your co-teachers especially. Next, participate in National Better World Framework and SDGs workshops to learn more about how Scouts can contribute to the SDG. You can share your own action plan. Next, please. Prepare yourself. So you start with yourself. Focus your attention on specific information and concrete activities to achieve specific outcomes for positive change. Identify what talents and skills are needed, the resources that you need. You have to prepare yourself because you cannot teach what you do not know. So that's important. Build capability. My corrections is not anyway. It should be capability. Hey, this is the one I sent you. Sorry, this is not the presentation that I sent. Anyway, uh, maybe we can. This is not the one. Sorry.
Dr. Visejo, I think you can continue with what you have so that our participants will understand the goal from your side, building capacity and learning educations.
Yes, I'm going to use my very own presentation, my PowerPoint.
Yes,
No, it's not
yes,
a PowerPoint.
you can just
I
speak out. You can just speak out.
Ito, let me call my son. Okay, sorry.
In the meantime, friends, all of you who are on the webinar, let us talk about the question answers that you can put up on the chat box.
It's
This
not a
can be
PowerPoint.
connected.
It's not a
Yeah,
PowerPoint presentation, but there's the text.
okay. It's okay. Go
Is
ahead,
it
Dr. Vicencio.
okay? Can you my my text go to my file? Which one? The PowerPoint? Can one? Oh, yeah, that's the end. Yes, that's it. That's the end.
So friends, you can put up your questions on quality education, no hunger, no poverty, three of them. And you are free now to put up your questions. By the time Dr. Vicencio comes back for concluding remarks of her address, we can look into your questions and we can answer your questions by the end of this one.
Okay. Can I go on? This is
Yes,
the
Dr. Vicencio,
this
please
is the port.
continue.
Ensure inclusive. I think I read that already. It is the key to prosperity and opens world of opportunities. I think I already mentioned. This is the uh, okay. Why does education matter? Education enables upward socio-economic mobility and is a key to escaping poverty. Education helps reduce inequalities and reach gender equality and is crucial to fostering tolerance and more progressive societies. Before the coronavirus, more than 200 million children were out of school, would be out of school. Only 60% of young people would be completing upper secondary education in 2030. The proportion of children and youth out of primary and secondary school had declined from 26% in 2000 to 19% in 2010 and 70% in 2018. 617 million youth worldwide lack basic mathematics and literacy skills. Okay. Some 750 million adults, two-thirds of them women, remained illiterate in 2016. Half of the global illiterate population lives in South Asia and a quarter live in sub-Saharan Africa. In 10 low and middle income countries, children with disabilities were 19% less likely to achieve minimum proficiency in reading than those with disabilities. 4 million refugee children were out of school in 2017. The majority of youth and adults with poor literacy live in the Asia Pacific region, Bangladesh, China, India, Indonesia, and Pakistan. Brazil, Egypt, Mexico, Nigeria. Well, not in. Okay. As estimated, 190 million children with disabilities live in our region. Many have limited access to basic services such as OPS, education, protection, and psychological support. COVID-19 COVID-19 places 79.5 million forcibly displaced individuals around the world at heightened risk in the Philippines. In the Philippines, there are 350,000 who are currently displaced across Mindanao, that's our island, our biggest island down south, due to conflict and natural disasters. They are now the most vulnerable. 80% of the forcibly displaced live in areas with weaker health, water, and sanitation systems. Many live in densely populated populated transitory sites, camps, or poorer urban areas. They need our urgent help today, and we can't do it without your support. With your help, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, can step up health, water, sanitation, and hygiene services to protect refugees and displaced people. Next. What slide is this? Next slide. Number 8, oh there. Okay. Despite years of steady growth in enrollment rates, non-proficiency rates remain disturbingly high. In 2018, some 373 million adults, two-thirds of whom are women, remained illiterate in terms of reading and writing skill. And the magnitude of school closures due to COVID-19 is likely to set back progress on access to education. Okay. Did I miss? Oh, these are the targets. These are the targets of quality education. I'll finish with this. Okay. I gave this already. Okay. Ito. Prepare yourself. This is the first thing to do. You for yourself and you for others. Before you can be you for others, you have to be you for yourself. Prepare yourself. Because you cannot give what you do not have. Focus attention on fields of action and concrete activities to achieve specific outcomes for positive change. Identify what talents and skills are needed and how to provide them. What new knowledge you need to acquire. The resources that you need. That is part of building capacity. Uh, these are examples of what you can do, what the leaders can do. One, collect used books with your scout group and donate them to a library or school in a low-income neighborhood. Two, lend your passion to a community center and volunteer 5 times to teach skills-based classes. In the Philippines, we call them barangay. Number three, visit a kindergarten and share your scouting experience to younger kids. Your creative ideas may inspire them. Number four, challenge yourself to learn something you've always wanted to learn. Spend at least 10 hours learning a new subject. 9. Participate in National Better World Framework and SDGs workshops to learn more how Scouts can contribute to the SDG. And you can add what you want to add there, action that you're going to do. Okay, these are examples of Scout actions that have been done and that are being done. The Earth Tribe, planting trees, feeding animals, taking action on climate, and Scouts Go Solar. They call that the Earth Tribe. Zero Hunger from the Bharat Scouts and Guides, promoting and nourishing neighborhood where many people are affected by COVID-19 pandemic, offering food to those who need it most, providing food to animals and stray dogs. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. This is from Bangladesh. They have online Scout Skills Camp 2020. They had it. The messengers for or of peace. I think it's for peace, the Philippines. Youth engagement from Thailand. Zero hunger from India. These are just some examples of what can be done. And Lastly, together, everybody achieves more. We work as a team. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Dr. Vicencio. Thank you very much. I will pick up on the last points because I'm sure that the facts and figures that you have shared, people might have taken out, and anyway, if they don't, they will find the PowerPoint with them soon. And but I will pick up on the last point what Dr. Vicencio says. You for yourself need to build yourself quality education. I think our friend Simon Bascoda also connected that SDGs are interconnected. We need to work on one SDG, and when we work on one SDG, that will be connected to another one. Again, if you want no poverty, no hunger, quality education is equally important, because if you build for yourself, you can contribute in eradicating poverty and eradicating hunger. So thank you very much, Dr. Vicencio, for your message. Build yourself, which is very important. And I also heard from you saying 10 hours of learning a day, new learnings a day. So I
Yep.
think that's another great point, which I think we need to learn. And we need to pass on the message that learning is lifelong, and we need to see, and that will contribute to quality education. But I think it's more, if we go to and targets what United Nations has said, those 7 targets plus ABC targets, if you look at it, we need to make sure that young people have the opportunity for quality education. They have access to schools. They have access to education. And as you have mentioned, there are marginalized young people in different countries. Particularly if we see the developing countries, we have the challenge of young people having education. And of course, scouting as a non-formal education contributes to the development. So
Yes.
friends, it's all how we
Prasanna,
relate.
okay.
Wow.
Prasanna, it's easy to remember lifelong learning. It's learning from womb to tomb,
Thank you. Thank
from
you, Dr.
childhood to
Vicencio.
until you die. You keep
Right.
learning.
So I am sure, friends, you have got quite a good idea of the three, but of course, 40 minutes is not enough, friends. Dr. Vicencio says 10 hours for a new learning. So 17 goals, 170 hours. Don't worry, friends. We have given 40 minutes uh, today, and we can give you another 9 hours and 20 minutes in coming days' time. So if you let us know, you share with us what do you need, definitely we will find time, and we will try to find people who can help us to learn. We learn together. Thank you very much. If you have questions, please do load on the questions. We still have about 4 to 5 minutes to go ahead on that. And if you have more questions, then stay with us, and we will help you in answering the questions if we do have. If we don't have questions, then we will ask you later. But in the meantime, let me share with you another screen with you. And friends, don't miss it. Tomorrow, Sunday, 13 September, we have 3 goals. Goal number 3, tomorrow is again devoted to development, a day towards health and well-being. So good health and well-being, goal number 3. Our speaker tomorrow is Dr. Hani Abdul Monem, the Global Director on Scouting Development from World Scout Bureau Global Support Center, Kuala Lumpur of Malaysia. So a scout who is by profession scout, but by education, he is a medical doctor, and he will talk to us on good health and well-being. Carrying over to goal number 6, clean water and sanitation. We have our Filipino friend, Mr. Rafael Madrigal, the Assistant Director with Philippine Young Water Professional, a graduate of Asian Institute of Management. And then we will move to goal number 7, affordable and clean energy. This is being dealt by no other than our friend Zahid Mahmood, who is the master of solar energy and what else, what not. And presently he's the vice chairman of Asia Pacific Adults in Scouting Subcommittee, the former Secretary General of Pakistan Boy Scout Association. You can see him, his face now, a young gentleman inspiring many others. So these are the 3 goals we will be dealing tomorrow, friends. So don't miss out and be with us tomorrow, same time, 5 p.m. GMT plus 8. And tomorrow we will finish at 7 and not at 7:20. So welcome for tomorrow. I'm looking at the chat now. Is only education of literacy refers to the quality education or even knowledge base and teaching something which others don't know makes quality education? Dr. Vicencio, can you have an answer for this?
Again, please. I didn't know that's a question.
Is only a education of literacy refers to the quality education or even knowledge base and teaching something which others don't know makes quality education?
Yes, quality education is very broad. It includes basic and advanced education. And how it is delivered. That's quality education. It's not only the subject area, but even the delivery of education. That's part of quality education.
Thank you, Dr. Vicencio. Santosh, did you get the answer? I would like to add on it, if I correctly understand, that literacy refers to quality education or even knowledge base and teaching something which others don't know makes quality education. Yep. I think Dr. Vicencio has already answered it very well. Thank you, Dr. Vicencio. I don't see any other question. Is there any other webinar today? No. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. GMT plus 8. If you are in Malaysia, it's still 5 p.m. If you are in India, I think it's 2:30 p.m. If you are in Pakistan, it's 2 p.m. GMT plus 8 and calculate the time. I don't see any other questions.
Ras, I have a question.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Actually what I prepared is a longer presentation, but because we are given only a very short time, I'm preparing a paper. Can I send it to you?
Sure, ma'am. We have our webinars for 6 days. Send us the paper. We will share with everybody.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, friends, if nobody has a question, time to relax and time to reflect. 3 goals for the day. And for you to think, are you going to do anything out of this? Are you going to commit anything on these 3 goals? You can take one. There are another 14 coming up. So keep reflecting, keep taking notes. And finally, we will conclude this on 20th September. 21st September is the pledge day for you. Even if you take 1 point out of that, which you will follow the year and you will inspire and encourage, keep adding more people with you. As a scout, we will be able to contribute what Secretary General said right in the beginning. Let's play our role. Let's play our part. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Manila time. Thank you and goodbye for the day.
Kate, can we stop the live video? Can we stop the live Facebook Live?